Welcome back, everybody. Hot mic off and rolling here on this Wednesday morning. The energy level in the studio just shot through the roof, and it's already pretty energetic just for me. I'm here by myself, but our next guest normally brings it. Not every time we have him on. It's super pumped to have him in studio. UJ head football coach Brian Mistro joins us here. How's it going, bud? How you been?
I'm jacked to be here, man.
I appreciate you coming by.
Well, we were in town, and then you texted. I was like, I'm coming. I don't care what anybody says. I've been watching this show long enough, and I think we got Troy following me, right?
Yes.
He's in town. Where's he at? I don't know what's going on here. I got to drive from Jamestown to get in the studio, and these guys are just chilling.
Well, in full defense of him, he said he could do tomorrow, but I'm like, we have Sam Getzinger tomorrow. Sam's a big deal. I can't bump Sam, so Troy's got to do Zoom today.
Well,
That's what he
it's
told
okay
me.
because
So.
him and Zier are busy fighting in the lobby at the
no
park.
doubt,
Yeah,
I hear that.
100%.
I'm sure because Zier is upset that they don't run the ball at Shanley.
I don't know what they're doing.
They don't really pass at Beach. Last
Well,
I
they're
remember.
still
so.
arguing about their first ever contest in 1940, I think. They need a home and home on that last I saw on Twitter. So we'll see how that goes.
So here it is, bud. We've been talking about it for like 2 years, and now it's reality that Division II football is now here for the University of Jamestown.
It's such an exciting time, too, from that. Not only do you get fall camp on the horizon, and everybody's excited about it, in answering the question of, like, how are you guys going to be? And that's great question. Let me get back to you on that. And to be honest with you, I think that there's merit to say out loud, like, it's going to be a challenge. There's going to be an uphill climb. This is going to be, and it's arguably one of the best conferences in the country.
I would say it's number one. I really would. I'd say the NSIC for all of its sports, and you've known this, now you're gonna live it out. I mean, it's number one in my mind, Division II.
It's a big deal, but it's also something that I think our guys are hungry for, and the ability that our coaches have done, and our guys have this culture of, like, let's go. No one's gonna give us a shot. And I shouldn't say it that way. People aren't going to be, like, super scared to play the Jimmies.
Yeah, you're going to get picked last. That's going to come with the territory of
100%.
what you got coming in.
But let's go. Let's wear that, guys, and own that, and then demand our standards and our expectations of what we want to see.
You mentioned, so describe that of going around town or visiting with donors, visiting with alums, and getting that question. Well, how's it going to go? Like, how have you handled it? How have you answered that over the last couple of years?
I've used a few different ones. I'm a Back to the Future fan. So, like, hey, man, I'll just go get the almanac. I'll let you know how it goes. But to be honest with you, is if I know them well enough, I tell them the truth. Like, hey, this is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun and exciting, and it's going to show us a path in which we need to grow and develop and keep getting better. And then, some of the people that are just angry and mad that, the old DAC doesn't exist still.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're going to do our best and give it a shot. It's not worth, diving into.
No.
The people that actually care about the Jimmies, like, they want to know, and I think that telling them the truth is the easiest thing. Like, we're going to give it everything we got.
I'm intrigued as well, Brian, now for the hardcore fans that show up every Saturday, knowing the likes of the Dragons are coming, or Augie's going to come, USF's going to come eventually, maybe not this year, Concordia St. Paul, Mankato. That's a whole different level of competition than, no offense to Dickinson and Mayville and Valley. This is big deal that's going to be coming to Jamestown this fall.
I had heard about going Division II when I was in college, because Mary left in my freshman year, and then Minot left the year after I graduated, and it was kind of that trend anyway. And so, for the most part, there's some teams that we have played before in the past. I played against Southwest when I was a player. And then I remember seeing crossover film with Minot and Bemidji in the Beaver Bowl. And so, like, part of me was like, is it that big of a deal? But I didn't grow up here.
Yep.
And so there are some people that are like, yeah, this is dumb. Like, why are you guys doing this? But then there's other people that are going, yeah, a Friday night tilt with Moorhead and Jamestown's going to be a pretty cool event to go to in this town.
Yep.
So I think that'll be, once people get used to it, like anything else, over time, it heals all wounds there.
The biggest thing is obviously the paint bucket game. And we talked about that when you were last November, and how big a deal it was last November to play that game, win that game. How different is that going to be, not seeing Valley City State on the schedule?
Yeah, man. And it's still a thing. We're going to be going through this process, and me learning as well. Even in our conference meetings, we're not set on structures of schedules moving forward. As of right now, it ain't happening. And so, but I don't think you can never say never, right? And I just, at some point maybe, but it gives a little bit of me. I was driving over here, and one of the best views in the country is when you got Valley in your rear view, and just saying that out loud and not being able to play them it's kind of moot now. Coach Mack will be mad at me for that one. That's okay. But it'll be different.
That's probably the one to me, and living through the Bison and UND didn't play for so long, that especially for the older fans couldn't wrap their minds around that. I'm sure you get that quite a bit. Like, wait, so this isn't happening, and it's not going to happen for we don't know how long.
Right, correct. And even the older fan, and even some of my buddies that I play with, like, hey, what do you mean we're not playing for the bucket? Like, I don't get it. Well, yeah, man, that's fine. Like, go back to your accountant job. I'll figure this out later. Like, we'll get this squared away, dude. But just ultimately understanding that there's going to be a process to however non-conferences work and things like that. And then we have to gauge as a program too. Like, is it, playing that rivalry game, how much does it affect anything else from, not that we're there by any means, but now you're looking at, well, NAI versus D2. Now the game doesn't count for records and all that stuff. And so there's just some things we'll have to navigate.
I look at this, and this might be glass half full guy or pie in the sky guy, that when the Bison at South Dakota State became the rival, and it's no replacing Valley City State, but now you're playing Mary, you're playing the Dragons, you're playing Northern, that are all right there, that tends to me that could be pretty darn cool in its own right.
I think it's going to be awesome. Throw Minot in the mix.
Minot too.
We used to play, a team we used to play, and that was a thing because when I was conference championships in 07 was going through Minot. And so like those are going to be awesome. And we played Mary last year at their place on, a night game. It was packed. And so I just think naturally it'll come, and we're all recruiting the same type of kids now. And they're not looking at us and saying, hey, well, Jamestown, you're kind of my second fiddle now because, you're not D2.
Yeah.
And I think it works differently for dudes. I think guys just have this. Every player on my team thought they were a Division II player anyway. So like they're jacked. And being able to recruit that way and have a little bit of a different want to, because now we're going to be playing some of those teams, is a big deal.
How different was it this past recruiting cycle, going on the road and being able now to sell it that we are a Division II team?
I was talking about this with Coach Dosh, who's back on staff. Like, we have 4 commits right now in July.
Yeah, right.
Never had a commit in July in Jamestown. And so it has been really good for us because not only are we telling kids like, hey, come be the foundation of our Division II process here, but also like you're going to leave your legacy. And when you're 75 and you're talking to your grandkids, like win, lose, or draw, that's something cool to be able to say. I was a part of the first ever Division II team.
Yeah.
So like there is some of that we've used, but there's also part of me that's like, I want it so much for our guys to be in an environment that's really cool. And a lot of these places are. Like, this is big time football. And I think our guys are going to really enjoy that.
Everyone's going through the same thing now. How much did your roster change over from last year to what you have for this upcoming fall?
So it's different. Ours was more graduation. We lost 9 starters on D, and they were a bunch of fifth-year guys. And so we didn't lose the portal stuff. I think we had a couple kids go in, and they went home. Like, they were California kids that went to a junior college.
Yeah.
And so we didn't necessarily, tip our hats to our coaches and our players because our culture is pretty cool. Our guys want to stick around in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota and Jamestown, man. Like, our kids love it there. We had 85 guys here this summer that are hanging out. And so I know that our guys see that on the horizon. I can't wait for the first conversation of a freshman, sophomore, all-conference type player that's like, hey, coach, what do you think? And I have a choice now. Hey, man, where do you want to go? I'll get you where you need to be because I'm going to use you in recruiting for the next kid. Or am I going to do everything in my power to, hey, man, like, your future wife is in the nursing lab. Like, you should go over and hang out with her. And so I just think that there's some things on the horizon that I'm not going to be ready for, but as they come, like anything else, I'll talk my way out of it.
Big picture deal before you got a few more minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay. For how much flexibility has your bosses give you, knowing full well, okay, the challenge is way different now. The competition level is way different. This is now your 7th year, I believe.
Going into my 7th
crazy as head coach. To say, we're going to take some lumps, but you got to bear with me because I have a plan of what this could be like in 2 to 3 years.
So got hired by a guy, Sean Johnson. He left after year 2 or 3 with me. And then we hired Austin Hebe, who was at Northern. And there was some connections there. And we just talk. I think anytime you go through something like this, and I think it's in any profession, if your communication is transparent between you and the people above you, the expectations and the standards and the vision that we have, everybody knows what we're doing. Everybody's on the same page. And so when we've talked about it, and I'll be candid, hey, are we going in and I'm telling my boss that we're going to win the NSIC? No. But I'm also not telling them we're going to go over and you better give me 10 years to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the wins and losses is really the metric right away. Hey, man, do your kids love you, and do you love your kids? And are we graduating dudes? And are we competitive? And then now that's subjective, too. Like, what's competitive mean?
Correct.
Because competitive versus Mankato, Bemidji, Duluth, Augie, it might be looking different than Southwest and CSP and other teams on our schedule that aren't right there.
Right.
But then I would argue, look back at the NSIC since the old NCC school came in. How many different teams not with a hockey program have won the NSIC in the last 20 years?
Yep.
So, like, there's a tall bill for everybody in our league to get to that point.
Yep.
And so I think, for me, you know, I'm a one-day-at-a-time guy anyway. I love Jamestown. I'm not going anywhere. If they're going to have to pry me out of the office. And then they're probably going to pry me out of the office and put me somewhere else. I'm going to be the guy in the office just asking for my stapler because, like, I ain't leaving. So get ready.
Let's break. We come back. We'll chat about this upcoming year's schedule you got coming, the teams that are going to be coming to Jamestown this fall. Back with UJ head football coach Brian Mistro in studio. We wrap up hour one of Hot Mic right after this. All right, back in studio, UJ head football coach Brian Mistro joining us, lamenting how bad his White Sox are. You weren't expecting them to be any good this year anyway, though, right?
No. We kind of knew that was coming, but and it's double the worst because my wife, her sister married a guy whose dad is the pitching coach at the Rockies, so we've been watching the Rockies at our house too. So God bless Coach Darryl, because a lot of losing happening on our TV.
That's not great. We're put up your schedule for this year. I don't know if the league did you any favors here. This is what you got cooking with opening with Augie. The first D2 home game is Southwest State. Then Mankato comes in. Last I checked, Mankato's not bad at football. Mary will be fun. That's going to be a dynamite crowd.
That'll be awesome.
Coming up in October. When you saw this unfold, what were your initial thoughts?
You know, part of me was like, let's go, because you knew it was going to happen. All right, new guy in the league, figure it out. But no, I think obviously the way that Aaron does the scheduling and all that stuff, I'm assuming it was random. But yeah, looking at that schedule, I went, all right, let's go down to Kirkby at the beginning of the year. And then I have some old Northern in me, right, from being a GA, and my DC was an alum, and Coach Dosh obviously coached there. And so, like, not everybody liked Augie back then either. But Coach OJ's been awesome. He was at St. Olaf my first year at Concordia.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't know him, but obviously super nice guy, and just listening to him talk in some of those meetings, wealth of knowledge and things like that. So it'll be fun.
The games, I can just think with Mary, Minot, Northern, MSUM, those are, to me, seem like it would take on greater significance. Is that in your mind as well, that those are going to be bigger than the other seven, so to speak?
You know, on the record,
every
game's a big game.
The same, yes, thank you.
Every game's a big game, and we're going to challenge take the same approach. Yeah, for sure, man. I tell the guys that. But no, yeah, it should. They're an hour and a half away. Yeah. And I think you're not being truthful as a coach sometimes if you know that, hey, we're in recruiting battles with these four schools for the local kid and we lose them. Like, you want to beat them in everything that you do. And I think, yeah, in the hometown crowds, and you start getting some of that, and the rivalries and the tailgate that can come from those things that we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, we had with Valley, and then last year with playing in the North Star, we had a little bit more of that. But when we were in the GPAC, I mean, there were some of those games where, you know, it was the family bowl because it was just the families in the crowd, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's a really fun time. And not that I have a ton of experience as a graduate assistant, and it was a long time ago now, but it's just a fun thing to be a part of. And I really enjoy how the NSIC runs itself and how the operations are, and just the sheer professionalism that is about it. It's really fun to be a part of.
What's the energy like on campus now? But this is here. Like, everyone's coming back. It's August in a couple days. Like, here we go. It's beginning.
I'd be lying to you if I don't feel a different vibe from our kids. I think coaching-wise, we're still who we are. Like, we're wired differently. Like, everything is the most important thing at that moment. But our kids, I think that there's a little bit of a different type of chip. And especially, I'll speak across campus. Like, they know what we're getting into, and they want to be the best that they can possibly be going into it, because they've heard so much from so many people of, like, why are you doing this? Why would the NSIC take Jamestown? Yeah. And I think there is some of that on our kids' plate of, like, okay, now are we going to go in and dominate? You know, God, that'd be great. But I think across the board, our kids know what people are saying and why they're right, wrong, or indifferent on social media and however you want to use it. But I think using that to your advantage and some type of extrinsic motivation is going to create some internal motivation and self-discipline to do the things that you want to do when you know you don't have to do them.
You mentioned to me earlier that your players already believe they're D2 players, but obviously you didn't recruit them to be Division II players. How much coaching, what can you do during fall camp to prepare for this jump that's going to happen in a month?
It really isn't. And, mindset-wise, I think you want to believe that you're the best player on the field at all times whenever you step on the field. Now, there's a self-assessment that you need to have and some humility that goes along with that. But I think challenge-wise and opportunity-wise and competition-wise, our guys want that. And so from a football standpoint, X's and O's, we are who we are. We got a new offensive coordinator this year, so spring went a little differently. But I think from a who we are and how we're going to coach, I'm going to love the heck out of our kids, and I'm going to make sure that they know we're going to hold them to a high standard, and they know I got a size 10.5 that I'll put directly on their keister if they need it, man. Like, that's just the way it is. So I think our guys are going to be ready, and we'll see. I don't know how it goes. I'll grab my almanac, man. We'll figure it out. Your guys know you played? You have to dig out, black and white video to show that you were a player?
The VHS tape? I wasn't sure if we had DVD or not.
I think we had some DVDs, yeah. But no, they probably know too much because I start off every team meeting with, well, back when I played. That was a cool thing. But no, I think they know my passion for it and being a Jimmy and what this place means to me and the things that it did for me. And I think that goes into, I listened to our basketball coach talk this morning at the coaches convention. And who are you? And what do you identify as far as what type of coach you're going to be? I was coached by a bunch of awesome people through high school and college. And one of the things that shined through everything else, they cared. And my goal is I'm just going to care about the kids as much as I possibly can. And let's go out and win some football games while we're trying to do it.
It's hard not to, and I've said this to you, not even on the show, but not be energized by you. Does that come naturally? Have you always been that way?
I think so. I'm really feeling the second hand of that because my kids are very similar and they don't stop, man. And my wife, God bless her heart, I don't know if she knew what she was getting herself into, but Nolan was doing we're watching Monday Night Raw.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, man, we had it on Netflix and DVR'd it or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's doing flips and somersaults at 10 o'clock last night, Tom. And I'm like, dude, it's bedtime,
How old
bro.
your son?
He was the 6-year-old.
Okay.
8-year-old was already out. 2-year-old was sleeping too. But Nolan's my problem. We got issues with him, man. But yeah, why be another way? Like, for me, who's who I am.
Yeah.
And so when people get to know me, they realize that. I think right away I can come off car salesman-ish or ego or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but nah, man, it's who I am and how I am. And some people really like it and some people can't stand me.
It's fine.
Yeah,
be comfortable with yourself, man. That's how, as I've gotten older, I'm sure you've realized this as well, I'm fine with myself. If you're on board, great. If not, that's fine too.
Hey, I'm always changing things to get better, but I ain't changing who I am. So I know that.
All right, Mattern, I don't want to make him late here, so we gotta go here. My last question: how will you judge a successful year this upcoming season?
One of the things that I thought about when being asked that question, one of the biggest components that I want to see is the retention in our team. Are guys going to give up and bounce? Or are they going to believe in what we're doing and see the vision that we have and stick it out because they know that no matter what, the foundation that they're laying as we move into this thing, after 4 years, they're going to sign off and close on their house. And they built this thing all through 4 years. Now, did they build some type of shanty or did they build a mansion? And I think wins or losses won't define that. Now, that's something that a coach might say that might not win a lot of games, right? But to be honest with you, I'm going to judge it based off of how is the experience of my kids? Are they loving this place and doing the things that they need to do and giving me their all? If I lose the kids, I'll bounce. But I won't. I will do everything in my power to make sure they believe in what we're doing so that way we can be as competitive as possible.
This was awesome, bud. I appreciate it. I got a couple emails to make sure if you're a weekly guest.
Hey, bring it on.
I don't know if
I don't know if I've reached
you.
your status yet.
Come on. Lockway's on every week. You and Lockway, we can do this, right?
I can knock this out.
We can do
well,
that.
I got to compete with them, so we might as well win.
Right, that's what I'm saying, Now that you're fighting for recruits and all that, that could make for some great TV. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck this year. We'll chat soon, all right?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brian Mistro joining us in studio. University of Jamestown head football coach. Jimmy's open fall camp on August 12th. We'll break. We come back. Troy Mattern will join us. Shanley head football coach. Big week for the Mattern family. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this.